the forgotten world. The silence of space was absolute. No wind, no echoes, just the slow, rhythmic beeping of the ship's instruments as the expedition vessel Odyssey drifted toward the unknown world. Dr. Elias Voss stared out of the viewport, his breath fogging the reinforced glass. The planet below was eerily familiar: oceans, vast green landscapes, and sprawling ruins of a once thriving civilization. It was a ghost world, abandoned for centuries, perhaps millennia. Yet the signal had come from here, a transmission, rhythmic and calculated, calling out across the void. The Odyssey touched down in a clearing just beyond the remains of a towering city. The structures were skeletal yet intact, their architecture disturbingly human-like. No signs of life, no decayed bodies, only the remnants of a civilization that had simply vanished. As Voss and his team disembarked, the air was still. Their helmets remained on, scanning for toxins, but the readings were shocking.
Oxygen levels are nearly identical to Earth's,
murmured Dr. Kira Aldrin, adjusting her visor.
This shouldn't be possible.
Voss nodded, his gut tightening. They had expected something alien, yet this felt familiar. Too familiar. They moved cautiously through the ruins, documenting every bizarre detail. The streets were lined with statues, their faces eroded but unmistakably human. Strange symbols adorned the walls, carvings depicting figures standing beneath a black sun. Despite the eerie atmosphere, there was an undeniable thrill in the air. They were the first humans to set foot here, to uncover secrets lost to time. Excitement built as they explored deeper, stepping inside vast structures, finding preserved rooms with furniture, books, and devices they couldn't begin to understand.
This is incredible,
whispered Aldrin, running her gloved fingers over a glass-like panel that hummed faintly under her touch.
It's as if they were just here, like the world just stopped.
Dr. Matteo Rains, their linguist, studied the carvings with fascination.
If we can decipher this, we might finally understand who they were and why they left.
For hours, they wandered, exhilarated by their discoveries. They laughed, they speculated. This was history in its purest form. But beneath the joy, there was something else. Presence. Voss felt it first, a subtle prickling at the back of his neck, like the sensation of being watched. He turned sharply, scanning the empty streets. Nothing, just ruins and shadows stretching long in the fading light. Aldrin shivered.
Do you feel that?
Rains exhaled, glancing around uneasily.
Yeah, like we're not alone.
The laughter died down. A hush fell over them. The thrill of discovery remained, but now it was tainted by something else, something unseen, watching, waiting, but there was no movement, no sign of life, only the city silent and still. So they continued, trying to shake the feeling, unaware that the world around them was already shifting, already pulling them deeper into its grasp. That night, they built a fire in the ruins of an ancient plaza. The flames flickered against the stone, casting long, twisting shadows. It was a moment of triumph, of warmth. Here they were, explorers of a lost world, sitting beneath alien stars, surrounded by the remnants of something once great. They spoke in hushed, reverent tones. The air carried a weight, an almost sacred presence. It felt biblical, like they were Adam and Eve stepping into a forgotten Eden, the first humans to witness its splendor. Sleep came gradually, the fire dying to embers. Voss was the last to drift off, his mind filled with wonder. But in the depths of slumber, something changed. It wasn't a dream. He was standing in the city, but it was whole, its towering structures gleaming under an alien sun. Voices surrounded him, speaking in a language he should not understand, yet somehow did. He wasn't just seeing it, he was living it. The sky darkened, a shadow loomed. Then, just as suddenly, he woke, his pulse hammering in his ears. He sat up, gasping, sweat beading on his forehead despite the cool night air. Across the fire pit, Aldrin stirred in her sleep, murmuring words he couldn't make out. By morning, others had experienced it too.
Not just a dream.
Aldrin whispered over breakfast.
It was like a memory. But not mine.
As days passed, the visions intensified. At first, they came only at night, haunting their sleep. Then, they crept into waking hours, fleeting glimpses in reflections, whispers in the wind. The once pristine ruins flickered, revealing decay beneath the illusion. The grass became dust, the air stale. They saw figures in the corner of their eyes, watching, judging. Then they saw it. It appeared on the third day, a creature unlike anything they had ever seen. It was delicate, fluttering on iridescent wings, its body shimmering like molten gold. A butterfly, but impossibly radiant, mesmerizing in its beauty.
It's magnificent.
Rains breathed, reaching toward it. The butterfly hovered, then vanished in a blink, leaving only a golden afterimage burned into their vision. And from that moment on, the dreams were no longer just dreams. The visions no longer mere glimpses. The voices grew bolder, whispering of home, of betrayal. They saw their loved ones moving on, their names erased from history, their mission forgotten. Some saw their spouses in others' arms, some their colleagues laughing at their absence. Each whisper twisted the knife, feeding them paranoia, tearing them apart. The ruins cracked, the sky flickered, the world distorted. Then the final revelation came. It wasn't a planet. The ruins shimmered, distorting. The stars above bent at impossible angles. The walls of reality peeled away, revealing an endless void filled with unseen watchers. They were never explorers. They were never alone. This place, this simulation had lured them in, made them believe, made them feel. And then it began to erase them. Aldrin screamed as she disintegrated into nothingness. Rains clutched his head as his own body blurred like a glitched recording. Voss tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. The world collapsed around him, and he realized the awful truth. They were nothing more than entertainment. The last thing he saw was a figure standing beyond the collapsing illusion, something bigger, something indifferent. And just before he vanished, he heard it sigh, a weary, almost human sound. And then the world went dark.